Are you thinking of moving to the Orlando area? If so, chances are the city of Deltona has already come across your radar. Today I'm going to talk about my top 5 pros of living in Deltona and my top 5 cons, so stick around. So where exactly is Deltona? Well, basically, it has a great location midway between Orlando and the world-famous Daytona Beach. Deltona was founded in the 1960s by the Mackle brothers, who envisioned a community where people could put $10 down and pay $10 a month for their home. Please note that prices have risen since then. Deltona was incorporated as a city in 1995 and currently has a population of roughly 85,000 people. Let's start with the pros. Number 1. Location. Deltona is located about 30 minutes northeast of Orlando and about 30 minutes southeast of Daytona Beach. So that puts you right in the middle of 2 very famous areas. You're probably 45 minutes to an hour, depending exactly on where you live in Deltona, to Disney. And that's a huge draw for a lot of people. It's about the same distance to SeaWorld and Universal. Deltona is located next to I-4, which is the road that takes you down to Disney or up to New Smyrna Beach, and then on to 95 to go all the way up north. So in that regard, you don't have far to travel to get to a major highway. The second reason you should be considering Deltona is its affordability. If you've been looking at the housing prices, I'm sure you've noticed that you can get quite a bargain in Deltona. And right now, at this exact moment, I see that you can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom pool home starting from $177,000, albeit a fixer-upper. But those are great prices, and you'd be looking at twice that if you were closer to Orlando. So I'll put a link in the description below of lists of houses like with pools or 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, and you can look up and see what's for sale right now in Deltona. Pro number 3, shopping. So if you like an area that's really convenient to get to grocery stores or to gas stations or little bakeries, there are plazas interspersed throughout Deltona, so you will never have to drive very far to get your essentials. Pro number 4, the parks. Deltona is home to some pretty cool parks. My personal favorite is Green Springs. Check this out. Pro number 5, the lakes. If you're not a boater, you might become one if you move to Deltona. There are lakes everywhere. In fact, I'll go ahead and post a link to all the lakefront homes that are available, and you'll be able to see just how many there are. The main lake in Deltona, of course, is Lake Monroe. And from there, you can launch your boat and take it all the way up through the St. Johns River to Jacksonville, where you'll hit the intercoastal, and then you can get out to the Atlantic Ocean. The trip takes a couple of days, but it's a super cool experience with little restaurants dotting the St. Johns and places where you can stop to buy gas. My 5th pro could also be considered a con, and that is that there are well, you can't say there are but there are very few homeowners association communities. So that means no one is really watching over you or making sure that you're following the rules of the community. However, it's a con also because that means the same holds true for your neighbor. So if you like a bit of control over, say, what color people can paint their house or what they're allowed to do with their yard, this might not be the area for you. Or you might want to single out an HOA community. They do come with a fee, but they kind of keep check on what you and your neighbors are doing. Having said that, there are still city rules and code enforcement rules that you must follow. With no HOAs being my first con, let's move on to the second one. And this is a biggie. It's the weather. It's hot. Now, when the kids go back to school in mid-August, you still have 2 more months of 90-degree weather. But that's true anywhere in Central Florida, not just Deltona. And believe it or not, you will eventually start to get used to it. My third con is walkability. What do I mean by that? If you enjoy walking to the store or to a little downtown area, that doesn't really exist in Deltona. You are going to have to get in your car and drive. There are, of course, grocery stores scattered throughout the city, and it's not going to be a long drive, but it's probably going to be a drive. Also, there is no mall in Deltona. Now, I know that that's becoming less and less relevant, but if you love to go to a mall, you're going to have to go either to Daytona Beach or to Sanford. My fourth con would be nightlife. If you like to go out and have a great time in a bar or some sort of a public place, maybe where the street closes down and there's lots of restaurants and bars, you're not going to find that in Deltona either. So maybe our young singles might not feel so great in Deltona. You might want to be closer to a city that has that sort of nightlife, which you're not going to find here. There are, of course, bars and restaurants in Deltona, don't get me wrong, but if you want that sort of walkability, hey, let's go over here, no, let's go over here kind of adventure, that's not going to be too much in Deltona. And my fifth con is that Deltona is, by and large, a bedroom community. What does that mean? That means you're probably not going to be employed in Deltona. That means you're going to be commuting to Lake Mary, maybe, or to Orlando. Again, you do have I-4, but I-4 can be a bit of a nightmare. It's been undergoing work for a couple of years now, and that hasn't ended yet. It's twisty and it's curvy, and that even changes a lot because it's being built and changed all the time. So for that reason, you are probably going to be commuting. So that concludes my top 5 pros and top 5 cons of living in Deltona. I'd love to hear your impressions, and if you live in Deltona, please feel free to comment also. I'd love to hear your input. Thanks for watching.